it's Colleen with Rope and Resellers, and I'm here for another weekly installment of What It's Worth. And this week we are talking about vintage backpacks. So a couple things to watch out for. You want to check and make sure zippers are working, because if they aren't, there the value goes way down, and zippers are not that easy to replace. So I would make sure the zippers work. Another thing that's really common in backpacks, and I'll show you. So I wasn't able to find any backpacks this week. It's not really the season where we're in Montana, and to go get their camping gear and stuff to donate, they're probably gonna have to go out to a shed somewhere, and it's been really cold. So I usually don't see this stuff till the springtime and garage sales. That's when I usually find the vintage backpacks. Sometimes I see them in Goodwill, but not that often. So anyway, another thing to look for that's really common, this is my own backpack and it's vintage. I bought this in the 90s. This is a North Face pack. I don't even know what it's worth. I don't care. But there's this pilling that's happening right here on the inside of the canvas. They coated it with some sort of like water resistant material. And unfortunately, because of the dry climate, it ends up starting to peel. So that's something else to look for. I have sold plenty of backpacks with it peeling. I have sold backpacks with like Gore-Tex on the inside, and it's just peeling off, like almost gone. And people will still buy them because they're collectors, and I guess they're just adding them to their collection. I don't think that these people are actually using them to go backpacking. Some of the backpacks they are, but mostly I think these are collectors who are avid mountaineers that just think it's cool to have this old stuff. So let's go over to the computer and take a look, and I'll try to show you what I'm talking about, what you're looking for when you go out and looking for vintage backpacks. Okay, so what I did, if you want to find this yourself, I just sorted by shipping and price highest, by solds. I didn't say used or anything because a lot of times it's not specified because it's listed under collectibles. So I did vintage backpacks. I didn't include Gucci, Chanel, Louis Vuitton, Burberry. You know, you're not looking for things that people would be wearing in malls or fancy downtowns or parties, okay? So these are actually mountaineering type backpacks. So let me just point out a few brands to look for, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. So first up, I have JanSport, which is one of the more common brands. Something I always look for in a vintage backpack is this leather bottom. So if you see a JanSport backpack, even a day pack that has a leather bottom, they're generally worth money. This one's made out of corduroy, so this is probably a vintage 1970s or 80s backpack. So just look for unusual materials, unusual shapes. JanSport has done really well for me over the years, and they also make external frame packs, and I think I show that in the next tab. So these are external frame packs. These have the aluminum frame on the outside. There are internal frame backpacks. That's a relatively new, not vintage design. They came out in the 1990s, the internal frame packs. These are from probably the 70s or 80s, most of these backpacks. So this is a China Everest. This is a special release. This has special patches. You probably aren't going to find that, but so this one, these hip wings that they're talking about, let's see if I can find a good close-up. This is the one I sold a little while ago, and I just want to show you a picture of what the hip wings are. So these are pretty unique to this design. This is something that they're looking for. It's a metal brace that gives support to the hip strap. So if you look on this bag, you can see it's got cotter pins, and which are these little pins on top of the straps that just pull out. You can look up cotter pin if you want. This has a plastic Fastex buckle. That's what this is called. It has some leather support, so those are good things to look for. The bigger, the better. This also had a really unique top pouch up here where it was actually kind of an open style, so it was an easy bag to load, so it was really popular. So there, it was made in the USA. That's also another clue. And here's some of the peeling. This was not very bad. Another brand to look for, North Face. That's the one that I just showed you that is peeling. Vintage, their vintage backpacks do quite well. The bigger the better. These big ones right here are guaranteed money. So if you can pick them up for under, 20 bucks, you're probably going to make money on it. So here again, a leather bottom. And the brown label, this is what they're talking about when they say brown label. This is a guaranteed vintage backpack with North Face. So this is an older label, this brown label. Here is something that I learned researching this. I had never heard of Clutterworks. Now I would have picked these backpacks up for a couple reasons. They're worth a lot of money. When I went through and looked at all the different backpacks, these came up on top all the time, $300, $200. So what Clutterworks is they are actually Dana Design, which now is called Mystery Ranch, and they've re-released a backpack. So if you look at this material, this isn't a super sharp photo, but it is an older canvas type of material, and that is what you're looking for. Their little tag is a little leather tag, and it says Bozeman, Montana. So that could be something that you run across. Probably not. They didn't make a ton of them, but if you see like old green canvas, this rust color, the brown, the blue, those were kind of the colors that were the only things that were available in the 70s. So that's what people built these backpacks out of. Those are very common colors that you will find. So here's another one. It's Chenard, which is, he started Patagonia. He actually made backpacks back in the day. You don't find them very often. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen one no, I have. I've seen a day pack, a Chenard day pack before. But here again, here's the blue canvas. You can tell it's kind of homemade. A lot of these guys kind of had low production. So they were all handmade. They were all done in the United States. There are metal buckles. There's little leather reinforcements. Here is the label Chenard equipment for alpinists. It's a C with a diamond. So this is pre-Patagonia. They also make, this is Patagonia as well. I just included Chenard and Patagonia. So they make commuter bags. I don't think that they're messenger bags. So these are 80s, 90s. You can tell by teal and purple. They don't make a ton of backpacks now. That's not really their focus. So here's another one that I had never heard of before, the Great Iron Works, Pacific Iron Works out of Ventura. Well, Ventura is where Chenard is from, and so this is just another label out of the Patagonia legacy, and I have never seen it. But if I saw Ventura, if I see Seattle, if I see Colorado, if I see Montana, then I will pick them up, because those are all really popular places where these, and some in New Hampshire, some Vermont, not as much, but these are breakout places where a lot of these companies came out of. Berkeley is where North Face came out of. So here's another brand to look for, Gregory. I'm not sure where these guys came out of. I want to say Washington, but so Gregory Mountain bags. So here's Gregory Mountain. Nope, I was totally wrong. San Diego, California. So California is obviously a pretty popular one, but when they say they're made in, well, they didn't say made in San Diego, but you know that this probably was made in San Diego. But see the label, how it's kind of hand embroidered. Well, not, machine embroidered. It's a big, thick label. They don't do this anymore. Here's another one that I found that I didn't know anything about. It's Antique Traeger Trapper Nelson. These are board backpacks, and I probably have seen these before, but I didn't know that they were worth money. So now I do. A lot of money. I mean, look at these. They're in the $200 range. They're just simple old backpacks. Okay, here's one label. They're out of Seattle, Washington. They are Indian pack boards. Not very PC, but I'm going to guess these are probably from the 60s or 70s as well. And, but here's that rustic material that you're looking for, though. They've got a lace back. Some old Boy Scout backpacks can look like this as well. Old Army backpacks can look like this, but this one in particular seems to command a lot of money. Okay, Sierra Designs. They're kind of a not great brand now, but if you can find the vintage ones, here is a label for them. They're out of Berkeley, California, so they're again another California company. And if you can find that old label, and remember the rustic sort of metal zipper, this has a leather bottom, that's a dead giveaway. So after a while, you'll start to see the materials that were common then and the colors that they use frequently, and you'll be able to find even brands that I'm not even going to list right now that I'm going to show you. Osprey, so this is another very popular brand of backpack. They came on the market, I believe, in the 90s, so they're relatively newish, but the vintage ones do well, and they had internal packs. They never made an external pack, I don't believe. So here's their label. They're out of Santa Cruz, California, and this is a vintage label that you're looking for. Their labels now are a lot more simplified and graphic, and I'll try to do another video on modern backpacks and what labels you might look for. Kelty is another really popular brand. They do really well. Make sure with Kelty, though, that you look it up, because not all of the older brands are worth money. So there again, leather patches. These are all things that you're going to see over and over again with these older labels. But there's a label right there, you know, not hand sewn, but sewn. A big patch is kind of what you're looking for. Here's some metal buckle accessories. So those are things that you're looking for, these older buckles, the blue. And this is the last thing I'm going to show you. This is actually one of my listings that's current right now. It's an Odyssey backpack. But the thing that's unique about this is that it's a teardrop shape. They don't make teardrop backpacks anymore, and people collect them. So here's a picture of the label. I had never heard of Odyssey, but I could tell by the label type, by the fact that there was this simple webbing that was commonly used. There are metal straps, and that it's teardrop shape. And I knew that it was probably going to be money, and also I think I only paid $1 for this, so if that, they probably gave it to me. So anyway, even though it looks like a piece of junk, and that's what most people think, that's the great thing about backpacks. So if you live in an area that has a lot of hiking and outdoors stuff going on, which is, you know, almost anywhere around the country, and even still people would go to Yellowstone, Yosemite, and go backpacking. So they'll bring their backpacks from home. If you can find these older 1970s, 80s, 90s backpacks, then you could be finding money. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. If you like this video or don't like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up or down. Let me know what you want to see in the future, and I want to thank you for watching.